Good morning, everyone. Another episode of NBC Sports Talk. But today I am joined by a very special guest. Oregon offensive lineman Marcus Harper is here ahead of a big day for you.
Yeah.
Oregon Pro Day is today.
Yeah.
It should be really, really exciting. So first of all, just tell us, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, honestly. These last 8 weeks have been they've been a lot. It's been a lot of different emotions, just not getting invited to the combine and things like that. But I've honestly done a great job of just staying focused and just staying true to my process. This is what I've always been doing. So I've been excited, and I'm ready for tomorrow. I'm ready for the day actually to get going and ready to dominate like I normally do.
Yeah, it's so exciting. And we're going to get into the entire process because it's an entire thing.
Yes.
But I want to go back just to tell our viewers a little bit more about you. You were one of the players that decided when Dan Lanning took over the program that you wanted to stay.
Yeah.
Take me back to that moment and what went into that decision.
Yeah, so that was coming off of like my redshirt freshman year. I wasn't playing a lot. I was on special teams sparingly. And so I got to that decision, and all of the old coaching staff was leaving. And I sat there and I was like, okay, do I want to leave with that old coaching staff and not try something new? Or do I want to stay here and kind of just figure out what's on the other side of this? And I kind of reverted back to a promise I made to myself before I got to college. I was like, no matter how hard it's going to get, like, don't leave. That was a promise I made to myself. I don't know what made me say that, but that's just what I told myself. And ever since then, I stayed, and I'm seeing the benefits of it today. So kind of just kept keeping that promise to myself and not letting myself down. So,
and since that moment, I'm sure everything went by so incredibly fast.
Yeah.
Now we're here, you're getting ready for your pro day, but take me back just, what an amazing season that you guys had. Big Ten champs. I know that was something that was really on all of your guys' goals, bucket list. But just how would you describe kind of that season and how you got to spend your senior season?
My senior season was honestly one of the best I've had being out here at Oregon. Made some new friends on the team with a lot of transfers and guys like that. But it was really good to kind of cap off my football career because, again, like you said, we had this new coaching change. We got this new culture here at Oregon. And it was kind of easy to get lost in the shuffle. And honestly, personally for myself, like I've seen a lot of guys come through this program and not, receive something to kind of commemorate their senior season on. And I didn't want that to be a story that, Marcus Harper II gets left out on. It's like, oh, did all this hard work and did everything that, kept coming back adversity after adversity and stuck through it and just never had nothing to really commemorate it for. And then we got to go into the new conference. And, that's kind of what I grew up watching was Big Ten football when I did get into playing football. So it was kind of a Cinderella story because I had my parents there. And it was just nice to be in that confetti and kind of see them just celebrate with me because they know the work that I put in for the last 4.5, 5 years. So it was great. It was great.
Yeah, and just talking about that work again too, how do you feel like Dan Lanning and the program that you've worked really hard in has prepared you now for this moment, being able to live out a childhood dream I'm sure that you had?
He honestly pushed me past limits that I didn't even know I was capable of reaching to. He forced me to get uncomfortable and be comfortable in that on the daily with the people that he was bringing in, with the recruits that he brought in, with just adversity that he would create in practice. It's so second nature to me now that almost if I'm not in a situation like that in my personal life, it's almost like, okay, am I doing the right thing? So he set a standard that a lot of people don't get to, they take their entire lives to get to, and very few get to stay there. So he really set the standard for how I want to operate as a man, honestly, and as a football player. And if I drop below that, I'm doing a disservice to myself and anybody else that's at this Oregon football program. So he just helped reestablish some standards in my life that I honestly wouldn't have gotten had I stayed if I didn't stay. And so I'm glad I stayed with Coach Lanning. So.
Yeah. And now the moment's here. I know you put in a lot of work from the time that Oregon season ended until now. Just what has that all looked like?
Yeah, it's honestly been a little bit of the same things I've always been doing, but instead of me prepping for like a spring ball, I'm prepping for obviously my pro day. So my mornings, I'm going 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday, which is kind of the same how I would do in the off season here at Oregon. But instead of me getting up and doing like a team run, I'm doing 40-yard starts, 10-yard starts, working on my L drill, working on my 5-10-5. Taking a little break, and then I'm coming back and doing a lift, and then honestly I'm done just recovering the rest of the day. So it's whether it's sitting in the hyperbaric chamber, sitting in a Normatex, or honestly just taking a good old nap. Like I think that's a good underrated thing that people don't look into, but getting in and getting an hour nap in has done wonders for me, especially having so many years of football underneath my belt.
You got the opportunity to kind of see so many other Oregon Pro Days.
Yeah.
What do you remember? Like, what is the feeling like?
Yeah.
What do you remember about Oregon Pro Days kind of in the past, and how are you kind of taking that experience to now you're going to be the one on the field?
Yeah, it's different being a spectator to now come be in the moment. I remember my first pro day that I vividly remember was looking at like George Moore, some years ago, and watching him go, and it's just a long-winded process. I just remember looking at him, and I remember playing with him. I remember sitting up there, us cracking jokes in the locker room, and then now, like, it's a very intense moment. It's a moment that, some people kind of walk on pins and needles because of the severity of it. Because again, you just honestly don't know what's on the other side of this. You see a lot of guys, they go through this, and some test well, some don't. You know what I'm saying? I've seen some guys, they do this, and God forbid they have an injury that happens and things like that. Like, you honestly just don't know what happens with pro day. My biggest thing is I'm gonna just treat it like it's game day. So today I'm doing the same thing that I would do on the normal game day, kind of just chill and kind of just calm my system, get that calm before the storm down. Because I know when I wake up tomorrow morning, it's full tilt boogie. So
yeah. Who has given you the best advice?
I would say everybody, and that's kind of like a cliche, but every person that I've talked to on this journey, they've literally told me like you, and they know me, you've prepared for this moment since I met you as a freshman. So like, just let all of that just show up on pro day, and don't try to do anything that you would normally do. But honestly, just go have fun. Like, that's the biggest thing. It's like I said, everyone's normally walking around on pins and needles. I don't like to live my life walking around on pins and needles. They just say go out there, go have fun, and just go be you, because that's what's gotten you up until this point. So why are you going to alter it just because, the stakes are a little bit higher? Just keep doing what got you here, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should be so exciting. How are you are you anxious, excited, nervous?
I'm very excited because it's like, again, I've looked at so many pro days in years past, and now I'm looking at mine. I'm like, this is your moment. Like, this day is set up for Marcus Harper II. This is the time and an opportunity for you to go show up and show out. And I've been a beneficiary of being prepared for the moment time and time again in my career, and so to see it kind of pay off again, I'm just ready to go out there and just go play with the guys one more time. Because that's another thing I'm gonna miss too. Is like, you don't know what team that you'll be a part of, and what the locker room is gonna be like at the next level. But I know I won't have another I won't have Tez Johnson with me again. I won't have Josh Connerly, Nashad Struggle, like a Johnny Cornelius, Dylan Gabriel, all these guys, and I won't be able to see, Jeffrey Bossa, Derek Harmon. Like that this team is very, very special. So it's gonna be more of a gratitude thing to be like, I'm happy that I'm gonna be here with these guys one last time and just taking the field with them, because we've had so many battles in practice, and to see it happen one more time,
yeah,
I'm gonna just be elated.
Also, too, just to say too,
yeah,
you have guys that are projected to go really high up in the draft that you competed against every day. Are you like using that?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because I'm sitting up here, I look at Derek Harmon, All American, all these different things, and not taking anything away from D. Harmon, but I'm like, we went up against each other in practice, like. We both got each other better, you know what I'm saying? Josh Connerly, I played next to Josh Connerly for some years and things like that. And Johnny Cornelius, another highly touted. I blocked for Dylan Gabriel, Heisman finalist. Ferg is doing his thing. So I'm looking at all these guys, I'm like, okay, so obviously you were doing something great, because if you're around all these star-studded guys, you're obviously a star shoot too. And it's my time to shine, so I'm just ready to do it, man.
That's awesome. What would you say, before we kind of end things here this morning, what would you say are the biggest things that you feel like you would bring to the table at the next level? Oh,
I know I bring a level of confidence that is unmatched between a lot of offensive linemen. I'm a leader. I'm a great locker room presence, and I bring a good personality too. Like, football, it's a child's game with a king's ransom, right? The game is so intense that there are times you got to break down and just kind of let loose. There's a level of seriousness that you got to take it with, but you also got to have fun with it too. And I understand that balance to a T, because that's how I've taken my career ever since the moment I've gotten here. I've never taken myself too serious, but I've never let the foot off the gas. And that full package of Marcus Harper II, that big Mark package, like, it's special, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, if you really understand, you want your locker room to look a certain way, you want your on the field to be a certain way, you want off the field to, be attended to a certain way, you come grab Marcus Harper II. So
yeah, and I know even listening to the radio this morning on my way in, they were talking about how the best offensive lines in the NFL are the ones that are connected and work together the best. You've been a part, you've won awards for being the best offensive line group in the country. You've started this past season rough and been able to develop and grow when a lot of people doubted you. Just what part of that do you feel like you bring? Bring
that confidence and that reassurance. I remember early on in the season, like you said, like the Idaho and the Boise game, everyone in America was, kind of throwing us to the wayside. All this offensive line is what we were, hyped up to be. And I just reassured them, like, hey, y'all, we know the work that we put in on a daily basis. I'm glad that we got it out of the season early on because we just got some of the kinks out early. It's kind of like a shooter. Like, everyone's going to talk about Steph Curry and all these 4,000 threes. No one's going to talk about, I don't even know how many shots he's missed in the past. So that's the thing that I brought to the offensive line and to the team is like, hey, look, we're getting the bad stuff out the way early. Yes, it's resulting in a stat that we don't like to hang our hats on. Is I think it was like 6 or 7 sacks in like the first 6 quarters of the game. No offense that, like, when you look at a stat like that, that's nothing that you want to hang your hat on. But I was like, I'd rather we get it out the way early now, so that way when we get to the the duration of the season, we're hitting our stride. Because if it would have happened in the middle of the season, we would have had an identity crisis, and that's a whole nother problem. So glad we got out the way, and now, like you said, we won awards, everything like that. But I just reassure the guys, like, look, don't run around here with your head cut off just because a few people say bad things about you. Like, know who you are through and through, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, big day for you.
Yes.
Best of luck.
Thank you. Through and through, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, big day for you.
Yes.
Best of luck.
Thank you.